Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here. It's a beautiful, and y'all, it's a fall day today. Like, we're not pretending to be fall, it's fall. It is absolutely amazing. I think the high is 70 today. When the wind blows, it feels like a good crisp 65 degrees. Fall is on the horizon and I'm here for it. But y'all, if you're new here, my name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee. And today on this channel, we are going to talk about, we're going to do some new stuff because we're always doing new stuff. We're going to plant up 2 fruit trees. And so, yes, I have added to my collection, so I cannot wait to show you what I have. We're actually doing citrus today. And you're like, girl, you're in Tennessee. How you doing citrus? Watch and find out. Watch and find out. So we're doing citrus today. I have a brand new product that I cannot wait to show you. And we're going to talk about how you can do citrus in this area and what do you do when it gets too cold. And then just overall how to protect your plants and crops during the fall and winter season, especially if you're in my zone or a very similar zone. So we're doing all the things today on the channel. And so if you're new here, say hello in the comments so that I know that you're new. Let me know what state or country you're coming in from so I can say hello back. So y'all, I'm loving this weather. It's something about how the weather can change your whole attitude. It can change your entire attitude. My daughter came home for the weekend for fall break from college, and she was here like 5 days. It felt like she was here like, I don't know, 12 hours. It went by so fast. And she left today, and my mommy heart was so sad, like crying tears sad. And I'm like, man, I have done this for 4 years. Like, why today all of a sudden, it's just, I don't know, it just hit me afresh. And if you're a mother, you understand, you know. And so I'm like, either I'm going to go in the house and get back in my bed and soak all day. And I really did consider it. There's no judgment because I never do that. But that's how I felt. Or I'm going to get busy with my hands and do something so that I don't have to think about her leaving, her not being here, and just be in this sad place. So y'all, I made it outside. I'm glad. I came outside. I was like, oh, it is beautiful out here. And then I immediately was like looking around. I was like, I'm about to go to Home Depot. Let me go to Home Depot. My husband, what you going to get? I'm going to go get some things. That's what I'm going to do. Get out the house. I just had to get in motion. Because if I did not get in motion, your girl was about to be in the bed being a sad mama. So, I'm outside. I'm glad about it. It feels good. The sun is nice and has lifted my whole spirit. And so one of the things that gardening does for me, it's like therapy. It's a stress reliever. It's therapy. You get to see the work of your hands. You're outside in nature. Like, I could go on and on about all the things. But one thing I will tell you, that if you're having a low day, a down day, go outside, put your hands in the soil, get some sun on your face, enjoy the weather. And I'm sure that some of you don't have pretty weather today or at the sound of this video, but when you can, enjoy it. So y'all, let's get to the business. So we are going to be planting an orange tree today, and we're also going to be doing a lemon tree. Now, the lemon tree concept is not new. I have done lemon twice before. The first 2 years, I got it from Home Depot. And the first year, it did really, really well. Like, by the end of the summer, I had a lemon and a lime. I had little bitty limes, not lemons yet, but I had little bitty limes on the tree at the end of the summer going into the fall and winter. Why my dogs want to act up? I had little bitty limes right before the weather broke and it was, too cold. We had to bring it in the house. The second year after that, which I didn't do it the year after that, I did it, was it last year? No, I did it 2 years ago. I've tried it twice. Okay, y'all, let's try this again. So I did lemon again, but here's what happened both years that I did the lemon and the lime. When I brought it in the house during the fall and the winter, I had something called, I think they call it leaf drop. Like, literally it was doing fine, and then one day it wasn't. All the leaves were everywhere. And it looked like a little stumpy, not even stumpy, like a little thin tree branch is what it looked like. So me not knowing, I'm like, okay. And so then I let it, try to just sit there. I'm like, maybe the leaves are going to come back. The leaves never came back, and I ended up throwing it away. So I'm like, okay, lemon not for me. I don't know what it is. Like, when it's outside, it does great. I bring it inside the house. I'm protecting it. And why do I have this leaf drop? So I was talking to another gardener last week who lives in New Jersey. So her temperature is I think New Jersey might be the same zone as me, but it gets definitely colder there. Anyway, she was telling me, oh, mine did absolutely the same thing. She said, but I just waited and waited and waited. And I put it back outside in the spring, and it started developing and growing all these new leaves. And she showed me a picture, which is the picture that I saw, which is why I reached out to her. And I'm like, oh, well, we just need to wait it out. So I decided to try one more time. One more time. Now, you may already know this. I didn't know this, but we're going to try it one more time on the lemon. So I have a lemon tree. And then I also bought a citrus tree. So I bought a citrus tree that is for my zone. And so it can take temperatures, I think, up into 30 degrees. And then after that, you have to bring it inside. And it is, I don't remember. I have to look. When we get the tree, I'll tell you the name of the tree. It's like a mandarin, like a satsuma mandarin situation, somewhere along in there. So we're going to try it. I've never done it before. But if you've done citrus in my zone, let me know. Like, if you have done it successfully, let me know. Okay. So let's go over. I'm going to show you what we're going to plant in, and then we'll get the plants and we'll start planting. So y'all, this is what we're going to be planting the citrus. This is what we're going to be planting the citrus and the lemon tree in. Let me get you a really good shot so you can see how beautiful this is and what we're going to do. This planter, the color is like a sage green. This is from Vego Garden. Y'all know I love me some Vego Garden beds. So let me just show you how beautiful this is, what it looks like, and let's talk about why I chose this for my citrus tree. Okay, so this is a new product from Vego Garden. It is called the self-watering citrus tree planter. So number one, it is self-watering, which is going to be fantastic, especially when it comes to the fall and the winter, but even throughout the year in the summertime when it's outside. It has a reservoir. You can see the different holes in the reservoir, and that is what's going to bring the water to the root surface. So you're going to water it like normal, and then it has almost like a reservoir, I guess, for lack of a better term, and then it's going to get water to the plants as needed. Now, if it gets too full, let's say you have it outside and it's raining and it's pouring down rain and it gets too much water, it also has a drain to move the excess water away so that your plants don't get root rot and all of that. The other thing is, y'all, it is the perfect size for a citrus tree or a fruit tree that has to have deep roots. So think citrus, think fig, think avocado, or any type of dwarf fruit tree. It is 22 inches high and 24 inches wide. So it's the perfect size. And then, y'all, it's mobile. It has wheels. And when I tell you, it is quality. All Vego Garden products are quality. Y'all know I don't talk about anything that I don't myself use and love. And y'all have heard me talk about Vego over and over and over. I'm telling you, you can go to Amazon if that's what your dollars dictate. But I'm telling you, and again, I have not tried the Amazon stuff, but I have tried Vego, and I'm telling you, the material and the quality is second to none. It is high quality. It's corrosion rust resistant. It's going to last you 20 plus years. And you guys have heard me talk about before many times about quality and the difference between a metal raised bed and a regular raised bed. Now, my garden started with wooden raised beds. If I had it to do all over again, I've said this over and over, is that I would do metal raised beds because it's going to last longer. The wood is not going to last 20 years. It's going to last at the most about 5 years if you have it outside in the elements. Ask me how I know. Because I've been gardening 5 years and we've replaced the wood beds in the back of our house. Now, the ones inside the hot tunnel, we have not replaced. But remember, they don't get the direct sun and they also don't get rainwater and all of that. And so they have lasted quite a bit longer, but they're not going to last 20 years like these beds right here. As you can see, I have two. So you can buy it as a single or you can buy it as a twin pack. And you can get it in the ivory color and the sage green color. And I think they have it also in a charcoal gray color. But y'all, when it comes to Vego, like, they are consistent. Every time they send a package, it is well packaged. The instructions are like super. Now, look, I ain't put together not one Vego product, but between my daughter and my husband, they have put together all of them, and they always say the same thing. The material is so quality, the instructions are so clear, and it takes minimal effort to put together. Minimal effort. But let's talk about how we're going to go ahead and get our plants in here. And because the temperature, we have Temperature is supposed to be going down just a little bit this week. The low is going to be like 40 for like a couple of days. And so we're going to fill this up. I'm going to let them be outside for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days until the temperature drops. And then I'm going to bring them inside into the sunroom. And that's where they're going to be for the fall and the winter. Now, let's just say, after I bring them in over the next 2 weeks, let's say it's really sunny outside and there's no low temperatures. The thing is, y'all, I can roll it right back out here. It rolls really good on the grass, on the concrete. So it's going to be easy to maneuver, and I can bring it in and out. Now, I don't intend to bring it in and out every day, but I'm just saying if I had to, I could bring it out and then take it right back in. So let's get our plants, and let's get the soil in there, and let's get them planted. Okay, so here are our plants. This is the orange tree, and this is a Owari, I'll put it up at the top, Satsuma Mandarin. So this is the citrus tree, and then this is our lemon tree. So this, let me see what it says, if there's a particular name on it or what kind. It's the Meyer lemon. So they both look great. We're going to get them into their new home, but first let's fill it up with some soil. I am using primarily Coast of Maine soil today. Coast of Maine is one of my favorite soils, but I only had this one big bag, so I kind of split it between the two planters, and then I backfill it with Bacto soil, which is another one of my favorite brands, and then I had to top some of them off with a cheaper brand, but mostly they have Coast of Maine in there. And again, I'm not going to be too concerned about it because I can always add some compost and fertilizer when the time comes in the spring. But at least we're starting off with a good foundation. Coast of Maine soil is just so light, fluffy, and loose. It is my absolute favorite. So like I said, I split it in between the two, and then I just top it off with the other soil that I have. I think when it comes to expenses on the farm, soil and compost are by far my two biggest expenses. And yes, you do see me make my own potting mix and soil. I do that mostly in the summertime when I'm starting a lot, or in the spring when I'm starting a lot of seed starts. But usually throughout the rest of the year, I'm buying bags of soil just because it's easier, more convenient, especially in the back of my house. I don't have one of those tubs like I do in the high tunnel. But again, we are filling them up and getting them ready to be planted. So I get both planters potted up. They look so good. They're in good shape, so that's good to go. And then once I get them potted up, I get them watered. I'm going to tell you about the reservoir a little bit more, but I just do the initial watering and get them moist and watered in, and then we fill up the reservoir and they should be good to go. Okay, guys, we have all of the plants in there. So we'll look at the temperature. Tonight is going to be 40 degrees, but I looked at the temperatures, y'all, and this is another reason why I bought that Owari Satsuma Mandarin. It's good for temperatures as low as 15 degrees. So we are in there. So obviously we'll bring it in, but I'm going to let it stay outside for the next 2 to 3 days just so they can get some good old sunlight and all of that. And then once the temperatures drop to 40 degrees, you know, sustain or below 40, then we'll bring them inside. The Meyer lemon tree is good. It's set to 40 degrees. It really prefers things that are like 50 to 80. And so we might leave this out for a couple of nights as well. And then also, because they're citrus, I'm going to fertilize with citrus, but I'm not going to do that now, even though I just planted them today. I'm going to wait until the spring time to do that, spring, summer, because a lot of times what I've been reading about fruit trees specifically is that you don't want to fertilize when it's about to enter the dormancy stage. You want to fertilize when it's in the growing stage. So if I'm wrong about that, y'all let me know down in the comments. But for now, I'm not going to fertilize them with anything citrus related. So they do need like a different, what's the word? A different, not mix, but a different type of acidity because they are citrus trees. And I'll get something that's specifically for citrus and fertilize at that time. But we got them planted in. I love the planter. I was telling you that it does have a water reservoir at the bottom. I kind of showed you that earlier in some video. And then it also has this gauge as well. That you can see, and so the gauge kind of gives you an indication of when you need to put more water in there. So that's going to be nice. It rolls. It's going to be nice being able to kind of take them in and out as needed for the winter. And I'm excited to see if I'm going to be able to finally grow some citrus in Tennessee in my zone. Now, I'm fully prepared that if the lemon tree does this whole leaf drop thing again, I'm just going to wait her out. I'm just going to wait her out and then put her back out here next summer and see what happens. Now, if you guys have done it before, please let me know. If you've had the leaf drop before, let me know down in the comments. So we got our trees planted. We're excited about that. Another new thing that I'm going to be doing that I've never done before is I'm going to be planting some anemones. I think that's how you pronounce it. And we're going to actually do those outside in one of the raised beds out there. Right now I have them kind of soaking because it says you need to soak them for like 2 to 4 hours before you plant them. You can either plant them as is or you can pre-sprout them. I'm going to just kind of plant them as is. So one of the things I want to make sure that if you're spending your time, your energy, and your resources, and you have plants for the fall and winter that are outside, make sure that you're taking measures and that you're going ahead getting prepared on how you're going to protect them if they get below the lowest temperature for the whatever plants you have. Now, everybody's in a different zone or different geographic region, so you have to know your region and you have to know what you've planted to know what it can withstand. So, for example, if you're planting things in green stalks, again, most things that you're going to be planting in a green stalk is going to be good, 20 degrees and below, except lettuce. Lettuce is real finicky, not finicky, but at 20 degrees sustained, it is not going to make it in most places, okay? So you got to have a way to cover and to protect. Now, if you have green stalks, they do sell frost covers for those that you can buy when you're planting stuff outside in terms of like in your raised beds and stuff. So when you're planting stuff outside, like in a raised bed, so what I have here, I have some alyssum, I have calendula, and I have some onions. And so that's one of the reasons why, because I have a greenhouse, I plant the majority of my stuff in the high tunnel. But out here, I have these things, and again, it's going to be no fuss or whatever. Now, right here are jalapeno peppers. They're not going to make it past the frost. We just have them in here getting the last few jalapenos, but that's going to come out, and then we're going to fill the rest of this bed with things that will be cold hardy, like carrots and radishes. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that stuff now. We're going to get that stuff planted in the ground. The onions should be fine. This is my first time doing it. I've never done the onions before, but if for some reason, if I was planting stuff out here like collards and cabbage and broccoli, I've done that stuff before in the fall, then my husband built, we got some PVC pipe and we had hoops that he put together with PVC pipe, and then we covered them with a frost cover and clamped it down. Now, when we were first getting started and we didn't have the tools and the resources to do all of that, then we used before we even had the PVC pipe and before we had be able to make the hoops, we used old sheets and old blankets. So what I'm saying is, now, do what you can do, but at all costs protect your plants, because you spent your money, you spent your time, and you spent your resources. The ideal way is to have some type of elevated structure like a hoop house or a hoop set where you can cover so that the fabric is not laying directly on your plants. That is ideal, but things will still grow in less than ideal conditions. So if you have to, then use a sheet or an old blanket or something like that to cover it, right? Just remember that when the daytime comes the next day and the temperature is like 45 degrees and the sun is shining, you have to go and remove that and then put it back on before nightfall to cover it again. So that is one way to extend your season. At the end of the day, know what you have planted, know where you have it planted, and make sure that you have a plan to cover it, to protect it, and you know what the lowest temperature is that anything can stand. Now, if you did my fall gardening workshop, you know that we talked about all this, and I actually gave, in part of the digital workbook I did, I had a guide that talked about frost tolerance specifically, and they have a cheat sheet and information that tells them what is the lowest temperature for kale, collards, Brussels sprouts, whatever the cool season crop is. They have a guide that kind of tells them that, and so they know, okay, if the forecast says it's going to be 15 degrees, I don't have to panic and not know what's going to make it and what's not. I know, okay, kale is going to be fine at 15 degrees. But you know what? The lettuce is not. Let me see if I can extend my lettuce a little bit longer by putting 2 rows of cover or plastic or something like that on it. So I'm telling you that now because in many places you have not had your first frost. We have not had our first frost, but it's on the way. And so go ahead and be thinking about that stuff right now. Now, you guys know, if you've been here, we have 3 main gardening spaces. And in the back of my house, I don't usually do stuff in the fall and winter. Why? Because I got a whole high tunnel and I can grow enough of what my family needs to eat out there. But for whatever reason, I have this inkling this year that I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to do something. I want to do something. I don't know why. I just am. But you know what? You have the right to change your mind. But I don't want to do anything that's going to cause me to have to come out here and build some hoops and all that. So I'm doing stuff that is what I call no fuss, or if it doesn't make it, I'm not going to be terribly upset because I don't have like no real food out here. I have calendula, which is a flower. I have alyssum. And then the onions I'm experimenting with. But what we're about to put in the bed right now is we're going to do some carrots and some radishes and some beets. Y'all know my history with beets. And I figure, you know what? If I'm going to do beets again, then at least let me do it in a space that I'm not relying on. So I don't have it in my high tunnel because that's like prime real estate for all of my food needs. You guys know that I did put some in one of the elevated raised beds, or in the elevated raised bed out in the outside garden. I did some beets and some radish, and they're coming up very nice. The beets are a little slow, but the radishes are looking good. And so I thought, since this bed is already like half planted, let me go ahead and add some stuff to it just so that it's a full bed. Why not, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Instead of just having one side of the bed that has this stuff and the rest of the bed is empty. The other thing that I use to make that decision is that I'm doing stuff that I know will be done by February, because in February, this bed is going to be used for onions. And so when I thought about doing my anemones, and I also bought some tulips, they're not here yet. I'm going to do tulips for the first time. I thought, well, let me put it out here, but those are going to be maturing in the spring. And so I don't want things out here taking up space that they haven't even had a chance, and then I have to pull when they're pretty and to put my onions in. And so again, being strategic, being intentional about what you're planting is going to be key. I talk about that all the time on this channel, is you need to be organized, efficient, and intentional. Now, the way my life is set up and the business that happens around my life, and I'm sure you're just the same, I have to be organized. I have to be intentional. I have to think through what I'm going to plant so that I don't have a lot of uh-ohs and a lot of misses. Do I have them? Yes, I do. But I try to minimize them by thinking ahead of time of what I'm going to plant. And also, I'm not thinking about what's going to be in the bed now, but what is going to be in the bed after it, right? And so there's a whole lot of stuff that I'm talking about that's coming together. If you were here last week, I did a whole video on succession planting. The video was called about how do I have food every single month that I can harvest. That video was talking about succession planting, meaning I'm making sure I'm keeping my beds in rotation. I am keeping food always in motion. And so with this concept, again, with the succession planting, I know exactly what's going to go in this bed after this. It's going to be onions. I know that, right? And so because I know that, and I know that I plant them in February, it doesn't make sense for me to put collards in here or cabbage or anything like that, because one, I'm going to have to come out here and cover some stuff up, right? When it gets real cold. Two, it may be at its peak and I may have to pull it. Three, I don't need it because I got the whole high tunnel. But when it comes to carrots, beets, and radishes, those are root crops. They're going to act as their own storage anyway in the ground. And so if I can go ahead and get them established, when it gets super, super cold here in January, February, they're going to be well on their way, if not ready to be harvested, and it's going to be just fine. Hopefully all of that makes sense. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually grab our beets, carrots, and radishes, and we're going to get them planted in the ground here. And get them on their way, and that'll just be another area where we'll have some more root crops, i.e. more food. Okay, so I am going to do some carrots right along the edge here. That's a great way to interplant things in your garden and to just maximize space, is the edges, the borders, and things like that. And so I'm just going to dig a trench. You guys have seen me do this many times before. The carrots I'm planting are Bolero. Move back, Lexi. The carrots I'm planting are Bolero, which is by Johnny's. I'm doing a pelleted version. And I do that so that I don't have to thin things out. Now I did a whole video on carrots and all that, and the reason why I chose this. So I'll link that video up here for you guys. The one thing about these onions, y'all, is that I love. Oh, and I see I have my calendula and my viola kind of growing here together, all mixed up with each other. Let's see if I can replant this viola. That's a viola. The one thing about these onions, these are the first onions I have done from seed. I'm just going to put this viola right here and see if it'll survive. It was right in line with the calendula. I looked up calendula and it's good to, it said 25 degrees. So hopefully they'll flower before we get to 25 degrees. But if not, it was something that I was trying for the fall. No biggie. So I am going to just dig a trench right down here and do me some carrot seeds and then cover them up and water them right on in. And then I'm going to do some beets and some radishes. And we'll call this bed done. This is, y'all, I'm just playing today. I'm playing, I'm experimenting. Okay, y'all, I got the bed planted. So on the far right, I did the Bolero carrots. On the other half of the onions, I did the daikon radish, which is the Bravo variety from Johnny's. It's a bigger radish. It's not like the little small ones. I did that. It grows really, really big. And then I did a row of the beets from row 7, which are the Badger Flame. Again, y'all, this is just me playing, me experimenting. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do beets, let me put them right here, that type of thing. That is what this is. If for some reason these things don't come up, no sweat off my back, okay? And I think you got to have those spaces. And again, everybody doesn't have the same amount of space, but I think you got to have those spaces or areas in your garden where you can just play, experiment, and you're not holding with bated breath, like you're not counting on it. This is not a space that I'm counting on, but we still pray that we have good results and good productivity. Because again, I don't normally even plant back here at all. So we got that stuff planted. We got our citrus planted. So the only thing I have left to plant are the anemones, which is going to be down at the other end in the outside garden. So we're going to get those planted. And then I'll show you some footage of that right here. Okay, y'all, we're going to plant the anemones right here. And so this is the elevated raised bed. This is the bed that I'm going, or not this bed, but a bed like this. I'm going to be doing a giveaway the first week of November, November the 3rd through the 7th. As the time gets closer and that week of the giveaway, I will tell you what you got to do to enter the giveaway. It's going to be very simple, very easy, but definitely make sure that you're subscribed to my channel so that you can be in on it. So yeah, this is the elevated raised bed from Vego Garden. As you guys can see, things are growing very, very well in here. Right here are the radishes that we did along the edge. We have our snapdragons back here that we're overwintering that we did from seed. And then y'all can also see we have beets that have come up as well. Now I've gotten this far when I've done beets before. We just ain't did a whole beet. So, but again, that's promise. I just thinned them out some more. I've been thinning them out as they've been growing up. And the ones I thinned out, I just tried to put like right back in the soil. We'll see if that works. Again, I'm not too pressed about it, but we're going to do the anemone corms. They're called corms. And they look like little acorns. You can see what it looks like. Now, I bought these from a place online that I've never used before called Petal Pickers. And the variety is, I think it's called White Panda Galilee. I'll pop a picture up here. It is so beautiful. So beautiful. I have been wanting to try this and ranunculus. But I'm like, I was a little intimidated because I've never done it before. But I always had to tell myself, girl, you didn't know how to do anything. And you doing it. So what beats a try to not try? So we're going to try. Now, I got a pack of 10. It was $18. So I don't know. You can kind of say that's on the pricey side. But we're going to try it and see. Because if it works, then we are in there 100%. So the corms came, they were dry at first, and so it tells you to soak them either overnight or up to 4 hours. They've been soaking now for probably about 8 hours, and so I'm going to put them in the ground. It says to plant them 4 to 6 inches apart, and with the pointy side pointing down. But everything I read said if you get that part wrong, you can see there's a pointy side. Everything I read said if you get that wrong, that it'll find its way to the surface, and so don't worry so much about the orientation. But because we read it and because we just remembered, we're gonna plant it pointy side down. So y'all, I'm just gonna put these like right along the front edge. It also said that when you plant them to just water them in, and then it really said after that you don't really have to water them. Ain't that something? And they're just supposed to come up in the spring. So I'm gonna kind of like just place them, and then we'll just push them down. But that way I'll kind of get them in place. It sounds like no fuss. Now, the only thing that I'm concerned about is because it's going to be outside. Ideally, I would have planted them in my high tunnel, but I don't have any space in there because that space is for food. And so I didn't have a space left over when I decided to do this, to put these in here. And again, it doesn't take up a lot of space, but I at least wanted them all together. I didn't want like an enemy here and an enemy there. And I'm not sure how they grow, if they grow in bushes or in clusters, or how that happens. So that's the only thing, is that it's outside. It said it can take temperatures like as low as 20 degrees. I'm not gonna be out here covering it. So if it don't go, I don't know. I just have faith that it's gonna sprout. That's what I think. What y'all think? You can kind of see that I just have them. I'm going to press them down, but I just did this so I can like kind of mark the space. And then I'm just going to push them down and cover them with soil and water them in. And then I'm just going to let them be. We're going to see what happens in the spring. We're going to pray on it. Because I'm not going to come out here and cover anything up. I'm just not. You know, although Vego does make a frost cover for this bed, I think. I need to check on that. Okay, y'all, let me get these covered up. I just think it's so cool that, you know, a part of nature, especially when you're doing stuff like this, that is what we call overwintering, meaning it's going to be dormant all throughout the winter, but you're putting it in the ground now so that when the springtime comes, it's going to start to bloom and all of that good stuff. I just think that is so neat. Only a God can do that, okay? Only a God can do that. It is so just like, you know, I love it. So they're all tucked in. All tucked in. I only did 10. So I'm hoping come spring, we're going to see some sprouts. This is going to be beautiful. Now, I don't know if they grow tall or not, because y'all, it don't matter at this point, because this is the only space I really had to do it. I did have another space, like one of these other beds, like the little short raised bed that we harvested some potatoes from. But that bed doesn't have compost. I have compost, but it's up at the house and I don't feel like waiting and getting it. This bed is already, what's the word? Been amended, compost and all of that. So that's why I chose this bed. And then it'll just kind of blend in with everything that's right here. But this bed is looking good, y'all. Okay, y'all, so we got all of our stuff planted in this bed. So that is good. The green stalks are looking good. I don't know if I'm going to fill up the rest of the green stalks. I don't think so. I think I'm just going to stick with 2 and just let those be that. And then we got our citrus planted. So if you go to the description box down below, you will see a code and a link to grab you one of these citrus planters. I'm telling you, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So even if you don't have citrus, but maybe you have a fig tree, avocado tree, a drawer fruit tree that you know that you need to bring inside, and you want something that is very easy to roll in and something that's going to accommodate the size of that tree, then I cannot stress enough, definitely go get you one of these. Also, I want to let you know about an upcoming surprise. I'm going to be doing a giveaway the first week of November. I think it's November the 3rd through the 7th. I'm going to have a big giveaway, and I'm going to be giving away a Vego Garden elevated raised bed. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe so that you can follow the journey all into the fall and winter and what we're going to be doing with things in the garden and also in the house. It's going to be a fun time. I appreciate each and every one of you. I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Remember, this is all a journey, but let's do it together. I'll see you next time, friend.